What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games. Today, I'm going to be showing off Victor Bergerskogen's top 32 Blacephalon-GX deck from the Malmö Regional Championships. Blacephalon-GX is not the most popular Blacephalon in this Ultra Prism to Sword and Shield format. However, Victor's deck is very convincing and makes a strong case for Blacephalon-GX in this format. Blacephalon-GX Mind Blown attack can KO the biggest of big Pokemon VMAX and Tag Team Pokemon GX, and thanks to cards like Island Challenge Amulet, we are able to manipulate the prize trade as well. One of the strongest facets of any deck in this format is the ability to manipulate the prize trade. We see that with the powerful Arceus Dialga and Palkia decks with their Ultra Creation GX. Taking bonus prizes is very strong. Similarly, denying prizes with cards like Island Challenge Amulet also extremely strong. So we see 2 copies of Island Challenge Amulet in this deck, which brings our Blacephalon's hit points down to just 80 hit points. However, it doesn't really matter. We can operate like a glass cannon, just giving up 1 prize in exchange for being able to KO just about any Pokemon in this format with the Mind Blown attack is a pretty reasonable trade. Now, we also have a very aggressive draw engine in this deck with cards like Oricorio-GX. The Dance of Tribute ability allows you to draw 3 cards if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your last turn. Fantastic. We also have 2 of the Naganadel-GX from Unified Minds with the Ultra Conversion ability, allowing you to discard an Ultra Beast from your hand and draw 3 cards during your turn, and also Heat Factory and a Dedenne-GX. So it's not uncommon to have turns where you'll Dance of Tribute, Ultra Conversion, Heat Factory, and maybe even Day-Day Change, and it's very easy to see a ridiculously high number of cards during your turn, which is great for drawing into resources like Beast Ring. And Beast Ring is the primary way to get that really big turn where you get a ton of energy into play and are capable of KOing any threat on your opponent's side of the field. Beast Ring allows you to search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards and attach to one of your Ultra Beasts if your opponent is on their 3 or 4 prize turn. The Island Challenge Amulets also help you to manipulate your opponent's 3 and 4 prize turn, and actually can give you an extra turn of Beast Ring where you wouldn't normally have that opportunity. For instance, if your Blacephalon-GX gets KO'd, your opponent will have 4 prizes remaining. You can use your Beast Ring and accelerate a bunch of energy into play, and then you could go up and attack with the Blacephalon-GX wearing an Island Challenge Amulet. If that Blacephalon gets knocked out, your opponent will only take 1 prize, which means that you have an additional turn to use Beast Ring, since Beast Ring is active on your opponent's 3 and 4 prize turn. And since there's really only just 1 non-GX attacker in the deck, Blacephalon, having those Island Challenge Amulets really helps you to get the most out of those Beast Rings turns, the 3 and 4 prize turns. Also, the Island Challenge Amulet is great for competing against non-GX decks, especially the Blacephalon from Unbroken Bonds deck. Having the ability to turn your Blacephalon-GX into essentially a non-GX gives you a lot of versatility against those threats. We don't have any real hand disruption in this deck in the form of Reset Stamp, but we do have 4 copies of Marnie, which kind of fits the bill. Either way, it gives us a nice shuffle draw option in tandem with Welder, which of course is going to be our other primary way of accelerating fire energy into play. Naganadel from Lost Thunder, of course, with that charging up ability, great for putting energy back from the discard pile into play to then use with Blacephalon-GX's Mind Blown attack. And also, Naganadel-GX, a great Psychic type attacker, can be situationally useful against Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX decks, which have been very popular lately. We also have a copy of the Forbidden Light Naganadel-GX, who can use Beast Raid, but mostly will be using Stinger GX against Stall decks, and the like. You can Stinger GX, set your opponent and yourself to 3 prizes remaining, and then swing in with your Blacephalon from Cosmic Eclipse using Fireworks Bomb. Since your opponent's at exactly 3 prizes remaining, you'll be able to place 12 damage counters every turn with Fireworks Bomb. which is great. You'll also be on your Beast Ring turn if you set your opponent to 3 prizes, and you're really only going to use that Stinger GX attack against decks that aren't going to be taking prizes, like mill decks, control decks, and so on and so forth. So that is a fantastic strategy for winning against those control archetypes. Instead of having to take a painful and laborious 6 prizes, you only have to take 3. So I really do like that strategy in this deck as well. And you can use the Beast Energy as well as the Psychic Energy in the deck to power up that Fireworks Bomb on the Cosmic Eclipse Blacephalon. Those 2 energies also very useful for Naganadel-GX and the Venom Shot attack, which is great for finishing off threats on your opponent's bench, sniping 170 damage. Fantastic. In combination with 2 copies of Great Catcher, we have plenty of opportunities to target down Pokemon on the opponent's side of the field. Let's get to some gameplay and see how this deck works in action. After talking with my friends Riley and Brady about this deck, they're really big fans of it, and they think that it's really underrepresented and underrated in this standard format. And it's easy to see why. It's got great typing, Fire and Psychic. You can hit the popular Zacian V for weakness. You can hit Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX for weakness as well. So the typing's phenomenal. And the versatility of the deck, being able to compete with Tag Team GX decks as well as mill decks and control decks, just gives this deck a lot of versatility, which makes it a pretty good choice for competitive play. So I'm excited to see how we do in these games we've got ahead. Looks like we are playing against Henry Brand's Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX deck. And I feel pretty confident against a deck like this. This deck has got 2 Tag Team Pokemon in play already, so it's very easy for me to map out my prize take. All I have to do is knock out the Reshiram and Charizard, which my opponent started, and this Mewtwo and Mew, and the game is over. Meanwhile, with cards like Island Challenge Amulet, I can make my opponent have to trudge through many Blacephalon in order to maintain pace. So I do like having a second Blacephalon in play. I'm thinking that turn 1, I can make this game even shorter by using Burst GX. Then all I have to do is KO this, and the Dedenne-GX, that's an option for us as well. I think that probably Bursting Burn is going to be a good attack for us to use, and I could Marnie, making it pretty difficult for my opponent to respond. But I'm thinking that Welder here is just the safer bet, since I don't have anything in particular that I love to discard. With that Mysterious Treasure, now we're much more stable. So I'll go get myself another Poipole, and this way we are more or less just set up and ready to go. I could get myself an Oricorio or something. I think the Poipoles are just safer because I can evolve them up into Naganadel from Lost Thunder. I can evolve them up into we're gonna put our second Fire Energy here on this Blacephalon. There's just a lot of different options. I can evolve them into the one that knows Ultra Conversion, and we can draw cards. So having that versatility is great for us in these early turns. Now I could lead with the Island Challenge Amulet. I think that I'm just going to lead with the Bursting Burn here, and leave this one more or less just without the Island Challenge Amulet on it, making it a little bit more difficult for my opponent to take that knockout. And I'm anticipating they are going to have to use Soul Burst, so we might have slowed them down there and made it more difficult for them to get that energy into play. They're probably not going to aggress on me this turn, so I don't really need to commit that Island Challenge Amulet. And rather than make this first Blacephalon GX more difficult or easier for my opponent to knock out, I would like it to remain at 180 hit points, meaning that my opponent has to expend more resources in order to KO it. And then I will probably end up using the Island Challenge Amulet maybe on my second Blacephalon to try and get that bonus Beast Ring turn that we had talked about before. You want your opponent to go to that 4 prizes, and then you want them to go to 3 prizes, so you have back-to-back Beast Ring turns. Now, it looks like they're going to switch into today and go with the research to draw 7 cards. They've got Indeedee on their bench, but do they find another switch or maybe a air balloon or something like that in order to pivot the Dedenne back? They could also find just an energy to retreat into the Mewtwo and Mew, and it'll be able to use that Soul Burst GX to throw a ton of energy into play. And it looks like They are able to find a basic water to retreat it, and they have the DD to heal, so they are rocking with a full health, 270 hit point Mewtwo, and they're probably going to accelerate some energy onto their benched Mewtwo as well with that Soul Burst. Now, Marnie is not the most powerful draw card in the format, but it is a little bit disruptive, which is nice. And since this deck does draw so many cards off the board with cards like Heat Factory and the Naganadel-GX and Oricorio and Dedenne, there are just a lot of ways for us to work around the lackluster draw power of Marnie. So I do like that. Now, I'm thinking that we're just going to quick ball this and go get ourselves probably Oricorio-GX is nice for stability. I could also get a third Poipole. So I'm thinking that probably Oricorio-GX, just knowing that I am going to get KO'd this next turn. They could gust it up with Great Catcher, which is... they don't usually play Great Catcher, though. I mean, they might have one in the deck, but usually they're using the Venusaur and Snivy Tag Team GX, which they don't have in play yet. So I'm thinking Oricorio-GX is a nice little safe option for us to have on the bench. And then I am going to put the Island Challenge Amulet, I think, on this benched one. And we're going to Marnie. And as you can see, we did find the Heat Factory and a Fire Energy, so we can continue churning through the deck and just seeing more cards. Definitely like that. And we will Heat Factory. I've got the Beast Energy in my hand too, and that's a phenomenal draw for us there. We have the Naganadel from Lost Thunder. I can start charging energy into play. I also have this Naganadel-GX for us, which is phenomenal. I'm not necessarily going to get to Ultra Conversion this turn. It's my last Poipole, and I don't think that I want to waste it. So I think I am just going to evolve these guys here and charge this up, and this is an ideal board position for us. We're only gonna have 4 energy in play, not enough to take a KO, but we are gonna be able to probably just burst GX and put this energy somewhere safe in play. And I'm thinking just on this Naganadel-GX on the bench is probably fine. That way I can have the option to Venom Shot later in the game. And I'm thinking just burst GX to take this prize, guaranteed. And then next turn, we're going to try and knock out Mewtwo Mew and then finish off the game with a Venom Shot on Dedenne-GX. So we've got our 6 prizes planned out perfectly here. And the Island Challenge Amulet on this benched Blacephalon makes it a target that my opponent doesn't really want to KO, which plays to my advantage as well. I already got 1 Beast Ring in my hand. I've got this Naganadel-GX set up already, or Oricorio-GX. There's just too many threats already on my board for my opponent to possibly be able to KO them all. First and foremost, my opponent probably wants to knock out this Blacephalon-GX in the active, since that Pokemon is threatening a KO. My opponent also probably wants to KO this Naganadel-GX, since that's going to be drawing me cards. They also want to KO this Oricorio-GX, since that's going to be drawing me cards. They just have to go with a massive bloom. So this is the turn where we need to hit some magic. And of course, we've got as many Beast Rings as we could want, starting things off with 2 Beast Rings before the Marnie, a fantastic top deck for us. And we'll put energy onto the Naganadel and the Blacephalon, and then Marnie first, see a bigger hand. And we've got an Ultra Conversion, and I've got a Dance of Tribute. Just a phenomenal draw for us. We can quick ball here, get ourselves another Pokemon out of the deck, and we can just go get ourselves Blacephalon, just to have another attacker in case we need it. And then let's Dance of Tribute first. So we'll see 3 more cards, and then we're going to get to see 3 more guaranteed. And sure enough, we've got all 4 Beast Rings in the same turn, literally more Beast Rings than I know what to do with. And we can Ultra Convert this Beast Raid Naganadel away. So we just got literally our entire deck at our disposal right now. I have my opponent in a checkmate board state, pretty much guaranteed already, with all of this energy that I have available to myself. 4 energy on the Naganadel-GX. We're going to charge up and get more energy into play here. Let's take one more look real quick. Discard this quick ball, make sure, yes, I do have another charging up Naganadel. which is great. And I can evolve this one over here, and we're going to get even more energy into play. So just look at that. I mean, it's easy to see how this deck is so convincing because of its ability to create these checkmate board states. I need to get 6 energy into the loss zone. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the active. That's probably fine. And take our knockout on this thing. I've got 2 energy Blacephalon on the bench ready to go, and can very easily just use this Venom Shot for game on Dedenne-GX. If they don't do that, if I take 1 energy here, which we did find an energy, I was going to say I'm feeling a little bit short on energy in my deck because I was out, but we found 2 fires off of the prize take. So I can manually attach an energy to my active to take a KO. I could take a KO with this Blacephalon-GX if they decide to gust and knock out my Naganadel-GX on the bench, since this is the card that is kind of creating that checkmate board state right now on my opponent's Dedenne. I can still take game by charging up twice and then manually attaching, and I will have 6 energies to be able to Mind Blown a Mewtwo as well. And I mean, what a quick game. This is literally what I used Burst GX, and then I used Mind Blown, and I'm gonna win the game in 3 turns. Against Mewtwo and Mew, very popular deck, won the Perth Regional Championships, and you know, the games look like this against a lot of the tag team decks because of how explosive your turns can be with Blacephalon. And I really do love the versatility of this deck, the fact that we can compete with those mill decks. We can compete with the stall decks. Being able to utilize that Stinger GX is just such a nice backup plan that a lot of decks in format are not considering. They're not really accommodating for it because it's not that popular of a card right now in standard format. So I really like that Blacephalon-GX kind of gets to play that role of the underdog, so to speak, in this format. Does look like my opponent is going to be able to use Shining Vine here. They're going to bring up something on my field. I'm imagining it's got to be this Naganadel-GX. This is the problem card on my board. Venom Shot will KO Dedenne-GX guaranteed next turn. Now, I've already got Welder Double Fire in my hand, but it looks like they're bringing up Oricorio and just going to pass. Totally fine with me. We've got an energy here, and I can Welder onto this Blacephalon, and we could just take a KO on that Venusaur and Snivy, hit for weakness, Mind Blown, and we can just get rid of all of these. I had even more energy I could have charged up, but this will do considering we are hitting for weakness. 700 damage to a tag team Pokemon, and that is game. Blacephalon-GX looking like some pure flames here, and the deck is for sure a pleasure to play. So that's Victor's Blacephalon deck from the Malmö Regional Championships. Make sure to give this deck a spin. It is a lot of fun. It works really well, and I highly recommend it. I think that this deck is a deck we could see more of in upcoming formats. Just a real underrated deck right now. Mind Blown, still as good as ever. Beast Ring, easier than ever to draw into, and Welder decks are just really popular right now. So I think that this list, it feels kind of in the same vein as the Blacephalon from Unbroken Bonds deck, except instead of playing out of the hand, you get to play off the board, which just feels really good, because once you get that 1 Beast Ring turn, which is all you really need to play out of the hand, you get that 1 Beast Ring turn, and then your board position just speaks for itself. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Make sure to check out my Twitch stream. I'm streaming every single weekday, whether you're at home, still at work. Make sure to come hang out with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/TrickyJim. We have an amazing community there, really passionate about the Pokemon trading card game, and it's very welcoming. So if you've never been to Twitch before, definitely recommend checking out the Twitch channel where we stream live Pokemon trading card game content every single weekday. Also, make sure to check out out fullgripgames.com. I could not continue to do what I do without the support of Full Grip Games. So thank you all so much for shopping at fullgripgames.com. If you're looking for extra cash, make sure to check out Full Grip Games buy list on the website fullgripgames.com. You can send Full Grip your cards. We've got a buy list set up and we'll send you cash, and it's a very quick turnaround for our buy list. Also, make sure to check out fullgripcodes.com if you're looking to get cards like these on your Pokemon trading card game online account. Fullgripcodes.com has got a great selection of Pokemon trading card game online codes, and Natalie has been doing an amazing job getting that website up to speed. So you all have a great day, stay safe, and take it easy. I'll catch you all later on Twitch. Have a good one. Peace.